And here we are, map number 2 of this best of 3 semi-final. Spawning down in the bottom right hand position as the yellow Protoss player representing Alien Invasion. It's CPU. Romson, who's spawning in the top left, representing Vega Squadron. Won game number 1 with a proxy 2 gate. And do you know what he's doing in game number 2? A proxy 2 gate. The pylon comes down now. Is it going to get scouted? Will CPU actually sit here and be like, he won't proxy 2 gate me 2 games in a row? Of course he won't. He hasn't actually checked around there. On map number 1, Habitation Station, the proxy 2 gate came down in his opponent's main. First gate on its way. Things getting pretty bold. Fun times. May only just be the 1 gate. Probe moving away. Proxy 1 gate is something that I haven't seen in a long time. Back at home, not too much. The probe is actually returning, so this is definitely just going to be the 1 gate. Probe coming down for CPU. Is he going to come and check? And he sees it. Okay, so he now knows it's coming. This puts CPU in a brilliant position. He doesn't overreact. He knows it's only the single gate and shouldn't have too much difficulty defending this. As long as he gets out his own zealot, he's got obviously probes to help fight as well, so it will tip any battle in his favour. Back at home, Romson adding in now that pylon and the gas. Could go for a proxy stalker, but needs to get something out now, to be honest. Has to get something, even if it's just used defensively for that gateway, because otherwise CPU will just move down with his zealot and a couple of probes and kill off the pylon. Things looking very good at the moment for CPU. Romson has to do something pretty special. Down comes the cybernetical, 3 probes in gas. Zealot nearly out now for CPU. His gate was slightly later than that of Romson's, but he's still going to get it out regardless. The cybernetics, the mothership core will help as well, up against just a low number of zealots. Probes getting pulled, wasting a little bit of mining time. Probes currently 19 to 16 in favour of CPU. Romson just doing a little run around. Another zealot coming down for both players. First few swipes coming out here for CPU. Things still staying very, very close. Cybercore is now finished. A couple of probes actually getting killed here. One goes down. A second one may get pinned. Surround is getting attempted. CPU is going to start engaging zealot on zealot, with the probes helping that obviously favour CPU massively. CPU adding in his mothership core. The stalker though on its way out, but with the mothership core and these 2 zealots, the stalker will have to be very, very careful with how it goes. CPU down now though by 2 probes. That's not ideal for him. The pylon is going to try to be prioritised. That'll prevent too much else coming through. Of course, something is being produced. The mothership core and zealots will have to start working away at the stalker, but that's likely just to go on a little expedition back home, knowing not much can be saved. The supply blocks Romson. That's quite a big thing because he didn't actually have another pylon in production despite taking damage there. So it's going to be a significant supply block, especially at a low supply level. That is massive. Gateway being rebuilt back at home. Second gate being added in now for CPU, and a third gate. Following on to this with 3 gate pressure is a great play, because you know that your opponent cannot possibly have any more gateways back at home and be able to afford them realistically. Romson instead going for tech, up to a Twilight Council. May follow this up with DTs, but as long as CPU plays this well, he is in a massively advantageous position compared to last game. So he's just got to keep that up. Stargate coming down as well. This is most likely going to be for some Phoenix, actually. Phoenix are very good when you go for 3 gates, as opposed to an Oracle, which is a better harassment tool. And the reason the Phoenix are very good is because with 3 gates and the Phoenix in the head-on engagement, you can lift a couple of your opponent's units, massively swinging it into your favour. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Phoenix. Oracles are still an option too. With a rally point, it does seem like it could actually be an Oracle. An Oracle also keeps you safe from a DT, which is exactly what Romson is going to be doing. So, not necessarily a bad choice, getting down an Oracle. Both have their benefits and disadvantages. Oracle is going to be on the way. There's enough Stalkers to be able to defend. The CPU is going to see that. Not able to run the Zealot. Oh, actually, he's going to get the Zealot over there. No, he won't. Gets taken down, so doesn't actually get to see that a Dark Shrine is coming. 2 Stalkers, though, and the Mothership Core with enough energy now for a Photon Overcharge should be able to deter any more aggression from the Oracle. The Robotic Facility coming through, too. That should be used first and foremost for an Observer. That would just really help prevent any DTs from having any fun at all. The Oracle making its way across, and is there going to be anything else coming from this Stargate? We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, over at Romson's base, adding in the robotics facility himself, his Twilight Council, of course not upgrading anything because this was purely for the Dark Shrine. Good play, still coming through from both of these two players. And a Voidway is going to be following up that first Oracle. The Voidway really is a good decision because it helps massively up against Stalkers and Immortals, so you can start picking away very nicely. And it's also worth noting the CPU adding in Immortals as well, so he's making a Stalker busting force. Photon Overcharge is triggered, the Oracle just backs on out to safety, doesn't want to take any risks, scouts the fact that Romson is attempting to expand quite early. A DT having a very fun time, killed 3 workers so far. Chronobu's coming down on the observer, the probes just having to run away. Nice force field, but does leave the sentry somewhat vulnerable. If the sentry goes down, that's a big loss. Definitely paying for itself now, this Templar with 3 probe kills and a sentry. Nice amounts of damage. The observer coming over, the DT will now die, but wasted a lot of mining time there for CPU. CPU had to cancel the Immortal as well, so that delays his Immortal time. Gonna come and take out this gateway yet again. The Voidway, of course, helps with that damage. Focusing the pylon is a better move, just to prevent any warpins coming in back at home or anything, minimizing any chance that this gateway can get any further use. So we do now have a couple of additional gateways being thrown down here for Romson, going up to 5 gates, plus that robotics facility. Chrono boosting out Blink 2, and with his natural, he is going to be able to start taking an even bigger economic lead, and it's worth noting that he's already up by 6 probes. That's very, very big. Adding in the Archon as well will certainly help up against the Immortal. Of course, Immortals don't deal that well with Archons. 1 hallucinated Phoenix coming through, going to try and get a little bit of scouts. He's nothing being produced, so only the 1 Voidway. Did he actually catch that there was a Voidway coming out? Yes, he did. So knows that's on its way, and that's really helpful for him. Take a little peek at what else is on its way. Well, really it's just going to be a lot of Stalkers coming through. This Oracle comes back in. 5 workers killed compared to 6 in favour of Romson actually. So his DT has been a little bit more effective than that lone Oracle currently down. But it's now CPU's turn to come and actually apply some pressure. He's still on 1 base, so this is fairly all in. He's got to win with this. Blink though has been completed. 5 gates are up. The worker count still slightly in favour of Romson. Stalkers currently sitting at 5 to 3, 2 Voidways, and an Immortal though, bolstering the force. A Zealot getting warped in, offensively, and a DT defensively. More Stalkers coming through for CPU. The Zealot just going to try and find some damage, try and do anything that it can. A second DT warping in back at home. That could become a second Archon. Could also be used, is going to become a second Archon. These Archons, of course, very good against the Voidways and the Immortals, because they are not armoured units, so don't take bonus damage. Photon Overcharge triggered at home just to try and stop that from doing too much. A Photon Overcharge is available, and of course Time Warp will be up soon too. That takes 100 energy now for those who didn't know. But it just buys a bit more time for Romson, who's only up by 1 worker now, but because he's got a natural base, his saturation across the 2 is slightly better, so does mine a bit more efficiently than his opponent. CPU pulling over his Oracle, just going to try and get a bit more damage out. Romson hallucinating forward an Archon. And hallucinated Archons, while they do take double damage compared to their regular counterparts, still are quite effective tanks because they've got 350 shield energy. That's a decent chunk of health, so will allow you to tank for a good amount of time. DT, more DTs getting warped through. Another Photon Overcharge is more than ready, a Time Warp is more than ready. Overall army supplies, pretty close, slightly favouring CPU. An Archon morphing through, that's going to have to back away, and an engagement is now forced. Photon Overcharge triggered. Is there going to be enough? 1 Archon falls for Romson. CPU still dealing some good damage. His Immortal at the back, but the Voidways starting to now fall. The Oracle goes down as well. Romson hugely up in army supply now, but a lot of that is in Zealots, but that's able to tank up the damage from that Immortal well. Romson blinking forward, takes down the second Voidway, and with this, is going to be able to force a full retreat out of CPU. And as CPU does not have a natural base, this is a very dire spot for him. He's down heavily in supply. And with the natural base, Romson should just take this. A GG is going to come down. Amazing play, congrats. And Romson advances 2-0 into the finals. They'll be coming up next.